Murder, mental illness, and a famous 19th century actor. What links these things to strange goings-on in the Covent Garden station? London's Theatreland, home to such plays as Cats, Les Miserables, Art, Chicago, and The Mousetrap. During the late 19th century, this place was home to actors of such stature as William L. Abingdon, Audrey Fitzgerald, Edith Osterley, and Jessie Millward, in plays that drew huge numbers of people. But in December 1897, one actor hit the headlines for an entirely different reason. William Terrace was born in London in 1847. As he grew up, he walked many aisles before acting, that included silver mining in America and sheep farming in the Falklands. He met his wife on holiday in Margate, and they had a daughter named Elaine. It wasn't until his first serious role, in Rebecca, based on Ivanhoe by Sir Walter Scott, that he became an established face in the theatre. He was nicknamed Breezy Bill because of his predilection for melodramatic roles. He later left the Lyceum and joined the Royal Adelphi Theatre. December 1885 saw the opening of the Harbour Lights, in which Terrace starred alongside Jessie Millward, who was just 24 at the time. Their on-stage romance soon turned from written fantasy to reality when they became lovers off-stage. Terrace was also at this time helping out a young Scottish actor named Richard Prince, who was down on his luck and struggling to survive. In fact, he was hardly working at all. Terrace managed to give him a small part in Harbour Lights, which kept him going for a while. But on one afternoon's rehearsal, Prince said something to upset Terrace, and so he had him dismissed. This, of course, sent Prince into a deeper well of despair and into a mental state which made him completely unemployable. William Terrace did try to send money to Prince through the Actors Benevolent Fund and tried to use his stature to get him parts in travelling productions. But by this time, Prince was living in the one pair of clothes he owned, having pawned almost everything, living on bread and milk, and when he did try to get parts in plays, he was frequently sacked. Prince finally snapped when he was ejected from here, the Vaudeville Theatre, on December the 13th, 1897. He'd become abusive when he was refused a complimentary ticket after falsely claiming to work at the Adelphi. He went to see Terrace, and they could be overheard arguing. It was on the 16th of December a letter arrived for Prince that told him the Actors Benevolent Fund was ending his grant. He was now at his wits' end. Terrace was on his way to the stage door that afternoon for a performance of Secret Service in which he was starring after a game of cards with a friend, Harry Greaves, when he was attacked as he was reaching for his keys. Prince jumped at him, stabbing him twice in the back, and as Terrace turned round to see who his attacker was, he was stabbed again in the chest. Jessie Millward, who was already at the theatre preparing, heard the commotion and ran outside to see her beloved laying on the ground, bleeding to death. Greaves arrived from the taxi which he and Terrace had shared, and grabbed hold of Prince, who made no attempt to escape, his hands bloodied and a mad look in his eye. Terrace told his love Millward he loved her as he died. Prince was never executed for his crime due to his mental state or unsound mind. Instead, he was sent to Broadmoor Asylum, where he often performed for his fellow inmates, putting together theatrical productions and conducting the prison orchestra. Nearly 50 years after his death, Terrace has still been walking the boards, or at least the platforms, as there have been numerous sightings of a ghost believed to be that of Terrace, dandy and actor, here at Covent Garden Station. In the late 70s, numerous sightings of a ghostly figure in top hat, long coat, gloves and cane were noted. The figure would storm through underground staff rooms, scaring the workers, and would then strut angrily down the platforms to disappear near to where tunnels were built in the latter half of the 19th century to link the theatres to the Strand. Rumour has it that Terrace used to frequent a bakery that stood just next to where the modern Covent Garden station stands now. Is the ghost of Terrace searching for an answer, or revenge for his untimely death that was spread across the newspapers of the land at the time? In 1985, two witnesses claimed to have been knocked down by the spectre of a Victorian gentleman on their way home from a performance at the Royal Opera House. After they picked themselves up, he had gone, but they could still remember the fear in his eyes and the smell of musty blood, a common occurrence in ghostly sightings. Although we may not see Terrace very often now, it appears he is still taking his role very seriously, still playing to the crowd and leaving audiences spellbound. Who will he entertain next?